Hey guys, it's Andy from Magoo Investing. Today I'm going to be talking about AT&T stock. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the history of the stock, why it's appealing, and then I'm going to hop over the computer and talk about potential short and long-term plays that I'm looking at. And before we hop into the actual video, I want to mention that I am not a registered broker, and before making any financial decisions, whether it be investments or otherwise, I highly recommend doing your own research and figuring out the best place for you to put your money. So unlike most of the stocks that I talk about on this channel, when I throw up the 5-year chart, you're going to see some things that do not look like many of the other stocks that I talk about on this channel. And the main difference is that AT&T is not a growth stock. And so the 5-year chart is very underwhelming compared to a lot of the other charts where in the past couple years, massive range, a lot of potential to make profitable trades. And in AT&T, you don't really see that. With its price only increasing 10% in the past 5 years compared to almost 50% with the S&P 500, you might be wondering why AT&T is even worth talking about. Why put your money into a single company when you could be putting yourself into an index that follows a bunch of companies and do 5 times as well? And so the reason that AT&T is attractive, going from 10% based off of its stock price, and then taking into account the dividend payout over those years, you'd be making 40% on your money compared to the 10, which is still less than the actually 56% that you would make with the S&P, but it is still much better than 10%. So the dividend is the attractive part when it comes to AT&T. With having one of the higher percentages for dividend payouts at around 5.5% currently, that makes AT&T a very attractive dividend stock. While it's not a very great growth stock, the dividend aspect of it makes it a potential investment opportunity for me. And then finally, the last piece of information I like to give out is that AT&T has either increased or kept the same for their dividend payout every year for the past 34 years. So that's 34 years of the dividend either increasing or staying the same. And so I don't have a lot of experience with dividend investing, but from what I've seen, it seems like it's become the kiss of death for a dividend stock when the company goes in and starts slashing the dividend payout, normally because the stock isn't doing so well, so they're trying to keep more of those funds inside the company instead of sharing those with the investors. So overall, the main point of this video is to talk about AT&T and explain why it has become a potential area where I'd be investing in the future to help expand my portfolio from being almost exclusively growth stock to adding into some dividend companies. And for anyone that's been around my channel for a little bit, they'll know that this does not look like the type of company that I would invest in. And you'd be right. I really enjoy taking positions in stocks that have had a large range and are at the bottom end of that range, mainly because they've been pushed down by poor earnings or some other news source. And so that gives you a great percentage if the stock recovers and an easy way to cut losses if it falls below prior supports. And so AT&T is different in that aspect where the stability of being able to cut losses quickly that I would be in a normal stock is the dividend. And so while dividend stocks have not really been attractive to me in the past, with the potential of a global economic slowdown kind of looming, hanging around in the news, all over YouTube, I'm trying to expand my horizons a little bit when it comes to investments because the consumer companies, mainly like the growth stocks that I like investing in, usually get hit the hardest during economic slowdowns. So to try to prepare myself, if this actually happens, I'm starting to look into dividend stocks a little more. And AT&T has been one of the top stocks that I've heard of. I know my dad's talked about it. I see it talked about on the news a decent amount, so I thought I'd look into it. Now that I've talked about the attractive part with the dividends, let's hop on over the computer and I'll talk about potential short-term and long-term plays that I'm looking at to take in the future. So here we are looking at AT&T stock on TD Ameritrade. And in the past year, things have been going really well. Since it bottomed out, and I think this is, December, right before Christmas, at a low of $26.80, it has pushed all the way up to hanging out just under $38 currently. So that's great for a company that I've been talking about has not been a great growth company. But when we go further, and I'll push it further, this is a couple years. This is back in July of 2016 up until current day. You'll see that the range has gone all the way up to $44. And so coming from, let's see, this is July of 2016 up until Christmas, we had a pretty good downturn. I'll just draw that trend line right there. And then as the market started to recover, the share price of AT&T started to recover. And since then, things have been going very well. And one of the first things that I talk about on this, if you're not investing in a growth stock, this type of recovery, let's see, what type of percentage? 37% within the year, kind of scary for me. And the reason I say that is non-growth stocks shouldn't be growing like that, or if they do, mainly I'm expecting them to pull back for a little bit. And I don't know when that'll be. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but that kind of worries me. So that's one of the reasons why I'd stay away from this right now. But me talking about staying away from this is me talking as a short-term investor. If I was going to be in this for the long run, I would be okay entering right here. Sitting at around $37 comparing to the high of $44, it has range for it to increase in price, and the dividend yield right now is pretty solid at 5.5%. If I was going to be taking a position, I'm going to be waiting for it to fall further. And the reason being, as the stock price falls, with the 34 years of data points as its backup, the AT&T has not lowered their dividend yield in 34 years, which is incredible. So what that means is, as the share price falls, the percent dividend yield increases. So when it came down here in December, its yield was almost 8%. And since it's recovered a little bit, now it's only 5.5%, which is still great. But if I'm going to be looking to take a position in here, I'm going to be looking for somewhere that's on the lower range of its 52-week or even couple year range, and because it'll have a higher dividend yield. So that being said, I will not be taking a position on AT&T until it comes maybe down below here, 2015. That's pretty far off, but it's possible that I will not be taking a position in this for a while. It's kind of in a weird position where it's around halfway, or it's still off $7 off from its high. And that really means that if the market falls right now, it's going to go with it. It also doesn't have enough of a percentage for it to increase that makes it really attractive for me. As this isn't a growth stock, I'm not expecting it to reach this $44 high anytime soon. With the, what is this, what did I say, 37% increase since the new year, I don't think it can continue with that. I am expecting it to pull back or just to slowly increase, and that's not super attractive for me right now. And so overall, AT&T is a very attractive dividend stock. And while it's very attractive with the dividend, I do not see myself taking a position in this anytime soon. The reason that I'm kind of going over the stock right now is to give myself options in case the market does end up falling. Expanding my portfolio in case the market falls is a better way of protecting your account instead of just having 100% of your investments sitting in growth stocks, which mainly get hit the hardest during the economic downturns. In addition, buying AT&T if the market falls and the stock price falls means that you'll be getting a company that has 34 years of increasing or keeping the same with a dividend payout. When the market hit the bottom right around Christmas of last year, it was almost an 8% dividend yield. And now since the stock price has increased since then, it's down to around 5.5%. But if you can get a company that is on its lower end of its range, that has an increasing dividend yield, that's a great place to keep your money during a downturn. So AT&T is going to be somewhere where I'm going to be keeping my eye on it, but I'm going to be waiting until something really negative happens in the market to put my money in there. But I'm going to have my eyes on it for a while because I think it's one of the better dividend stocks. And now I'm going to try to expand my horizons a little bit more on this channel and talk about other dividend stocks because there's a decent amount of them. And it's not just these growth stocks out there. There's other options too. Thanks for watching, guys. If you learned something or you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button or the subscribe button because it would help my channel out a lot. If you have a stock, company, or just kind of an idea that you'd like me to go over in a future video, please leave that in the comment section down below and I'd love to go over it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.